distinct pleasure of having two beautiful ladies with me that we will be going into this segment called Evaluating Financial Services, Optimizing Infrastructure. Please welcome with me Mrs. Phylicia Hanna, and also Camille Gomez-Jones, please. I trust you guys, you both are well?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Please tell us a little about yourselves.
Phylicia? Okay. All right. Good morning. My name is Phylicia Woods-Hanna. I am the Director of Investments for the Bahamas Investment Authority that is currently assigned to both the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Tourism, Investments, and Aviation. What the Bahamas Investment Authority does is we are the promoter, the facilitator, and the police of foreign direct investments that come into our jurisdiction. So it's not an easy task, but what we focus on is how we do business in our country, what services we offer to foreign direct investors, as well as we try to balance that with creating opportunities for domestic investors to participate in foreign direct investments. So really and truly, we are the balancing act for any business that come to our shores.
Okay, that's a heavy task there. Please, Camille, please tell us about you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. I am Camille Gomez-Jones, and I am an attorney. I have been practicing for 16 years. I am admitted to the Maryland Bar, the District of Columbia Bar, the Federal Bar, and the Bahamas Bar. I started as a patent attorney in Maryland, and in 2012, I returned home to my country to offer my services.
Thank you.
I practiced in corporate and commercial law, and then I entered family law in my own firm, and then I became a Crown prosecutor, and I am currently appointed as our nation's Registrar General.
Well, gee, thank you so much for that background information. And let's get right into this topic that's such a vital one. Phylicia, tell me something. In your opinion, is the Bahamas sufficiently globally recognized as an attractive investment destination?
Yes, but the answer to that question evolves daily.
Okay.
Because the focus of the Bahamas Investment Authority is improving the way we administer foreign direct investments so that we are able to promote the Bahamas as a premier jurisdiction for doing business and for inward investments into our country.
Okay.
So with that being said, we continue to focus on the day-to-day activities, how we integrate with government agencies, which is inclusive of the Registrar General's office, to make sure that there's interconnectivity so that foreign investors can feel comfortable when they invest in our country. So really improving the product offering of our jurisdiction is an evolving task that we target and focus on daily.
Okay. So, Camille, tell me something. What are some of the services that the Office of the Registrar General offers for us currently?
So the Registrar General's Department is the lifeline of the country. It's literally the cradle to the grave.
Okay.
And so it houses the registry for all vital statistics, the civil registry, so that would include births, deaths, marriages, and the recording of deeds and documents. And as the Attorney General would have alluded to, it also houses the corporate registry, which is where we incorporate and maintain the corporate record, so that's companies. And it also houses the intellectual property registry, which includes trademarks, patents, and designs.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, though, can you speak to some of the technical advancement that you're currently experiencing at RGD?
Certainly. So with this administration's commitment to improving the ease of doing business, the Registrar General's Department has engaged in a digitization project. Mm-hmm. And we have, on the 21st of June, launched the Corporate Administrative Registry Services right here at Bahamas.
Okay.
And that is what is referred to as CARS, as you might have heard the Attorney General mention. And so that is the fully digital corporate registry that we have launched, which allows our agents and the general public to interact with the registry so they can do their corporate filings, they can pay annual fees, they can incorporate companies, And we're rolling it out in phases, but you can do it in your home, in your office, from your own system and without having to physically come into the registry.
Oh, okay, cool, that's good. By the way, would like for you to know too that you'll have the opportunity to ask questions if you do, so please write them down and we'll give you an opportunity to have a Q&A at the end of the segment. Mrs. Wood, one of the questions I always have is it sufficiently welcoming environment here in the Bahamas for foreign direct investments to do or want to do business in terms of what the government policies are and what anything else we can do to attract them?
Well, there are a couple of initiatives that have been taken in the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years. The first, like the Registrar General, the Bahamas Investment Authority is undergoing digitization. With that, it's really a partnership and a marriage because we have practitioners that have to register with our system as well. We did the first rollout, which includes land transactions. So any foreign persons purchasing land in our country, they are required to come to the Bahamas Investment Authority for an investment board certificate of registration or International Persons Landholding Act permit. So digitization is at the forefront of that.
Okay.
For us.
Okay. Now with the the new option in terms of the bonds that are being offered now, do they still have to come and see you as a result of that?
Definitely.
They do? Okay.
Definitely.
And have you seen an uptick in that area?
No, not at present. But of course, things change overnight.
Okay.
Another thing that we are currently undergoing at the Bahamas Investment Authority is getting the message to the foreign shores. So in the next 2 weeks, the public will see, 2 to 3 weeks, the Bahamas Investment Authority is rolling out its pamphlet with how to invest in our country. All of our foreign consulates will be equipped with those pamphlets just to be, as the first point of contact, equipped with answering basic questions, which will hopefully not only promote the jurisdiction, but equip our foreign consulates with just technical information, general technical information that is required. This is probably the first time that the Bahamas Investment Authority has been so engaged in the diplomatic corps with just making sure that the national investment promotion strategy is at the forefront of each of their minds. The diplomatic corps is equipped with understanding what the policies and procedures are, which are the target sectors for promotion of investments into our country. The investment promotional strategy is really aimed towards not just sector-specific, but island-specific.
Okay.
What we have encountered over the years is that when foreigners are looking to do business in our country, it's usually Nassau-centric. But the family of islands, one of the beauties we have as an archipelago, in particular to a number of our Caribbean counterparts, is that each island has a different culture, and we're just looking to showcase that and see how we can really channel economic growth and development through our family of islands as well.
Okay. And I know with the pending United States election in November, do we anticipate some trickle effect or some faucet turning on there? I'm just curious.
You're trying to be mischievous.
I'm just curious.
I guess I'll be able to answer that after November 3rd.
After November 3rd.
Sorry, I'll be able to answer that question more accurately, but the work continues. The growth in the foreign direct investments continues to increase. So right now, with an aggressive promotional strategy outside of the U.S., we see increasing growth. So I'm not particularly concerned either way.
Yeah. Okay. Technology is going to be the driver of this, and my question is there sufficient priority placed on technological knowledge and skills transfer?
Yes. So since becoming director of the Bahamas Investment Authority, we have built human capacity within the agency. Daily, we have transfer of knowledge policies where junior officers are partnered with senior officers to make sure that we don't have that brain drain that typically is experienced throughout the public sector. I think I'm a product of that as well. In previous life, I would have worked with my predecessor very closely, and so transfer of knowledge is something that is a reality at the Bahamas Investment Authority. My predecessor still serves as my mentor, and we continue to stay in constant contact. We also work with other agencies just to have transfer of knowledge and build capacity, sensitize us to a basic knowledge of those sectors that are real target for inward investments.
Yeah. Ms. Jones, we know that technological improvements can often present challenges. One thing we know that's for certain is change, but people hate change. Can you address any challenges that the RGD may be currently experiencing? I know this may be a segue into some questions that people might be thinking about, but can you address some of those for me, please?
I think
for our audience.
I think about 50 people in here can answer that question.
Okay.
But no, I won't run from it. So yes, unfortunately, change is difficult, but it is necessary. And with the rollout of cars, I have to take a page out of Kamala Harris's book. So I have to tell you how we got here.
Okay.
For those of you who have visited the Registrar General's Department, and for my FCSPs and my registered agents, you know that we lived in a space where we had thousands of paper files, and we operated out of 5 different systems. So in order for you to get any kind of business done with us, you would present your application to us for whatever service you were trying to get. And then we had to go into 5 different systems and plus check the physical file in order to facilitate whatever your request is. What we have attempted to do is reduce all of those systems and the file to this one system to make it more convenient for the agents. Unfortunately, you tell God your plans and he laughs. And so with the rollout of cars, it has been slow going because we're going from a former digital system plus a paper-based system. We have a lot of legacy data that's not yet available in the new system. Also, because we merged data from the other 5 systems, we had to make sure that the only data that we put in the new system was clean and accurate, because we don't want our agents accessing the system and getting inaccurate data. And so to provide an accurate and clean system and plus one that's convenient is quite a tall order, and it takes a while. And so we will find that agents are frustrated because they can't really access all of the services that they need. And the other thing is the human resources in the Registrar General's Department, particularly for the corporate sector, is very limited. And so services have reduced in efficiency a little because we have now reduced to just this one system. And for my agents and FCSPs, CARS is the only system that we use for the services that we offer. And so everybody has to use this system. And if you are not yet registered, then you have to physically come to the registry and present your documents, and then we have to put it in the system for you. So we've kind of reverted a little to a manual process.
Oh, wow.
And so we now ended up in a little bit of a backlog. Part of the issue, though, is that we are in a 7-month transition period. The 31st of January 2025 is the deadline to register. And the more people that are not registered, the more work we have to do. And so the longer it takes for us to facilitate your request. So I do encourage you all, if you are users of the Registrar General's Department services in the corporate sector, please register your agency on CARS. I promise you, pain endureth for only a night. Joy cometh in the morning.
Okay. And what is that date again?
January 31st, 2025 is the deadline for everybody to be registered in CARS. If you are not, on the 1st of February, if you want to reserve a name, you will not be permitted to walk in the doors of the Registrar General's Department and present over the counter. You have to register. So,
Ooh, okay.
And the Attorney General wants me to to move that date up, but no, we're going to keep it to the 31st of January, 2025. So please, if you are not yet registered, I seriously encourage you to register.
Okay, so that's the reason why I guess the AG said we must register now? Okay.
That's precisely why.
Okay, great. You know, Phylicia, if you mind, I'm thinking which sectors, you know, whether existing or undeveloped, have more potential for industrialization and diversification here in the Bahamas?
Once again, that depends by island, right? So if I was to take the island of Grand Bahama, the maritime sector is a ripe industry for foreign direct investments. Of course, balancing that with the national investment policy, which specifically states which industries are strictly reserved for Bahamians. So everything is not completely opened. Manufacturing and anything in the industrial sector, of course, it depends, because within Grand Bahama alone, you have 3 different cultures, because you have East, Freeport City, and West End. So if I were to go to West End, I would say a tourism product would be more fitting. Medical tourism, in particular, would be more fitting for the West End area. When you get east, I would say agriculture. Freeport City, I may say industrial, because of the concessions that may be available based on where you are located. If you go to the Southern Islands, then I would have a different answer for you, right? Because on the Southern Islands, I'll tell you, tourism products will always do well. But of course, focusing on the yachting industry may be more of a benefit, economic benefit to investments. So it really depends, but there are a number of sectors. Of course, financial services will always be to the top of the list, not because of the audience I'm in, but because that's just a reality.
But that's Nassau-centric, is New Providence-centric.
New Providence-centric, and Grand Bahama.
Okay.
You know, so there's lots of opportunities within that financial services envelope. As it relates to the Ministry of Tourism, they always like to say that the Bahamas has probably the best problem to ever have. We have the heads, we just have to facilitate the beds and facilitate the right product for our islands. And that's every island that requires room capacity. So any tourism-related investment is always safe.
Yeah, because I know Patrice was talking about, a previous presenter was talking about retaining that talent. And that seems as if, you know, that's one of the challenges we have here in the Bahamas. You know, both of my girls, they are threatening, well, one has already left, and I doubt very seriously if she's come back, but we have a lot of, you know, brain drain going on in the country. How do we do that if we keep the infrastructure in place?
Creating the opportunities and being firm on your policies. I mean, you're speaking to 2 individuals who are returning home, right?
Yeah.
So
Applaud
we
you for
get it,
that.
and so having us at the forefront, understanding those types of issues is important. But every negotiation over the course of the last few weeks, you would have seen a number of heads of agreement signed between the government of the Bahamas and developers. At the forefront of all of those negotiations are extracting where opportunities exist for Bahamians. And when I say opportunities exist, I don't just mean jobs, but I mean entrepreneurial opportunities.
Okay.
We work with the Ministry of Economic Affairs. I've spoken to the Minister of Economic Affairs to ask him to see how we can develop our business and domestic investment desk. With that, just having a fair understanding of what opportunities can exist and can be extracted from foreign direct investments. The immigration policies over the last 2 years in particular have been very stringent. We've been working with the Department of Labor. I would have mentioned previously how important it is for government agencies to be interconnected. That is one of those initiatives.
Right.
Extracting those opportunities isn't a unilateral effort. It's an effort of all government agencies that have the technical capacity to understand what exists domestically. And then you mentioned transfer. Within heads of agreements, there's always a transfer of knowledge policy. But making sure that's a reality is where the 3rd pillar of BIA comes into effect. The policing, monitoring and evaluating. We work closely with the the Department of Immigration and Labor in particular. So if you see an individual has a work permit in a particular area of expertise, they are forced to make sure that they have a Bahamian understudy. And once their tenure has been completed, those individual developers are required to present us with identifying who the Bahamian understudy is.
Okay, and who polices that? I'm
Well,
just
it's a multi-government approach because we all speak.
Okay.
There's a misconception that the government agencies don't speak.
Right.
We do. And just to strengthen that relationship over the last year, we have had intergovernmental meetings. There is a task force or committee, as you may call it, that you may see in the coming weeks will be appointed by the Cabinet of the Bahamas, which is a meeting of all of the technical heads, a committee. With that, we are just going to have discussions about not only just the investment policy and how we promote, what are meaningful sectors to promote globally, but also creating that open line of communication for facilitating foreign direct investments, closing the gap on how long it takes to turn around applications throughout government sectors is the primary focus of that committee.
Okay, great. And Camille, just quick, does the RGD have a roadmap for its current digitalization period project that you're talking about?
So yes, we do. We have a very strategic plan in how we're rolling out the corporate administrative registry services. I literally have my roadmap here.
Okay.
It's not fictional, it exists. And we're rolling it out in phases. So what we wanted to start with was all the services that was available in our previous platform.
Right.
Because we didn't want to disenfranchise anybody from what they were used to. And we accomplished that, and plus a little bit more. So currently on the system, you can incorporate, you can pay annual fees, you can do all your annual filings. And even though we're experiencing challenges and we have our stages that we're rolling out in, we're also tweaking the system as our users indicate what challenges that they're having. And so, for example, the system is very smart.
Okay.
And because we don't have our legacy data, we're experiencing difficulties with letting people know whether their companies are in good standing. And so I've asked the developer to amend the system so that when I put a company in good standing, it remains in good standing. So currently, that's not what my users are experiencing, but as of Sunday, that release will be issued. And so on Monday, all companies that you know are in good standing, when you go on the system, you will see that they are in good standing, as well as your ability to file all your annual statements and all of the issues that you've been having with filing. Those will be addressed on Sunday, and the fix will be implemented. So Monday, all of those will be corrected.
Yeah. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that the CAD system was something similar that was implemented in some of the other Caribbean islands? Are you aware of that? I mean, I'm just asking.
The car system?
Yes.
Yes. So
Now, how do we compare to those islands in terms of what we want to accomplish?
So the system that we're using is modeled after the system that's in Cayman because those are the developers we used.
Okay.
And you will notice in some of the other Caribbean islands, they have a very similar system, and the financial corporate service providers are very happy with the fact that they have this system and that they don't have to physically go to the registry.
Okay.
And our system even has a top-up, a business cap system where you could do all of your accounting. It's a premium service, and it's paid. It's not free. I have to say that. I have to make sure. Everybody who knows me knows fees. The motto of the Registrar General's Department is to collect revenue for the government of the Bahamas.
Oh my goodness.
But
so we just want to put that out there, right?
but at its full capacity, the system has a lot of advantages for the users so that they can facilitate their clients without having to come into the registry and having to wait on long lines.
Okay.
And so one of the other fixes that I am implementing, because one of the huge challenges that we're facing is that our users can't fund their escrow accounts without coming into the registry. So you'd have heard the AG talk about these escrow accounts. So all of the agents have an escrow account that they deposit money into, and then when they want to do a transaction from their computer, they just draw down from what they have available.
Okay.
Currently, you are unable to fund that account yourself. You have to come in and physically give us money at the registry. So I have now asked the developers to enable the system to allow the agents to fund their own accounts from their offices or their homes, wherever they are locally. And so we're looking forward to that being implemented within the next 4 weeks.
Okay, great. So they'll be able to have a running balance, and as they draw down, top
Right.
it up. Okay. And Phylicia, just as the director for the Bahamas Investment Authority, what critical factors should be considered when deciding to invest in the Bahamas?
That it's much easier to do business in the Bahamas than a number of our counterparts.
Okay.
It's not because I'm paid to say that, it's
Okay.
actually the reality.
Okay.
And it's improving, like I said, it's improving daily. But it's because of the wonderful corporate partners we have in the private sector that we're able to do that. And so I always urge our corporate partners to continue the work that we're doing. At the end of the day, when my tenure is done, I would want my legacy to be that the director is removed from the culture. We in the Bahamas have enjoyed a culture of picking up the phone and calling the director. No. In digitizing our process, we want to not only make it more efficient, as Madam Registrar would have indicated, but increase the level of transparency that exists presently. And so with the digitization of BIA, that's the main focus. So you no longer have to pick up the phone and call the director. You can look online in real time and see exactly what's happening with your application. You can message an officer. You can tell just who is dealing with your application. So it removes that level of confusion, but increases the level of confidence.
Okay, good. So Camille, tell me, are there any future plans for digitalization for the RGD?
Yeah, so we're not just focused on companies. And so the Civil Registry Operations System, which will be known as CROSS, is already in development. And so what we have done with the corporate platform, we're going to do with the Civil Registry. So you will no longer have to come to the Registrar General's Department to get a certified copy of your birth or a certified copy of your marriage. You can be anywhere in the world. You can log on to the system, and you'll be able to search your record, and you'll be able to download it, and then you'll be able to print it if you need it after you've paid for it, and it will be an e-document, so the registrar's signature will appear on it. It has a seal, and it has a QR code similar to our corporate documents now when you download them. And so we have to adhere to this administration's commitment to the ease of doing business. Everybody knows where the Registrar General's Department is. There's nowhere to park.
Right.
People go all over the world. They move, they travel. Sometimes you need documents. You're taking your child to school, you realize, oh, I can't prove that I'm married to my husband. It would be very convenient if you could just pop on the computer or go on your phone and download the document. So the Civil Registry will be digitized, and that includes the Deeds and Documents portal, so you'll be able to access deeds and documents, and you can do a search. You'll be able to download the document after it's paid for, so all of this will be done by credit card. And then after that is done, the final stage will be the Intellectual Property Office. That will also be digitized. All applications will be electronic, so no more filing 3 copies of your Form 1, 3 copies of your Form 2, taking all these pictures. Everything's going to be electronic, and we're upgrading to iPass4, so we will be completely digital by the end of 2025. That's the goal for the Registrar General's Department. And hopefully, by the time that I move on to wherever it is that I will go to after I leave the Registrar General's Department, the Bahamas will enjoy a fully functioning digital registry where they don't have to come through the doors of the Registrar General's Department and stand on the line and wait for a piece of paper, when they can just do all of these electronic actions at home or from the comfort of their own office. So that's my hope for our country.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. She said it first, okay? Phylicia, I have a question for you. One of the questions I'd like to ask is, what advice would you give to financial entities seeking to start up business here, operations here in the Bahamas?
Come see us and let us know what your concept is before formally submitting, seeing what the appetite for the jurisdiction would be initially before making your application.
Okay. And how can the financial sector, these practitioners in the financial sector, help to that?
giving us feedback,
Okay.
opening the line of communication, having open and frank conversations about what it is they want to see happen with foreign direct investments and how the practitioners envision themselves participating more in foreign direct investments.
Camille, do you have any last words that you would like to share with your audience, that you have this captive audience here at this time? And I'm going to ask Phylicia the same thing.
Yes,
Before
I
we
do.
go to the Q&A, if we have any questions.
Please, 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 if you are a user of our services, I am encouraging you to register on cars. And the other thing is, I know it has been very difficult to get through to us. By the way, the Registrar General's Department has phones now. I think everybody should clap. We have working phones. But for anybody who might have questions that are particularly specific to them, I will make myself available during the luncheon break to entertain your questions. But I do encourage you to register for cars if you have not. And I do thank you for your patience while we get through this difficult process of transition, which ends on the 31st of January, 2025.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
Phylicia?
Similar plea, register for the BIA portal if you're a practitioner, especially with land transactions, real estate transactions. Let me just give you a little bit of internal realities. Our present system, the old system, I should say, takes an individual officer one application about 30 to 45 minutes to process.
Wow.
With a volume at any given time of 100 and 150 applications. But on our new digital platform, it takes an individual officer about 5 minutes.
Ooh.
So registering for the portal makes the turnaround time significantly faster for getting your International Persons Landholding Act permit and certificates. Phase 2 of that will, of course, be the no objection letters and the Hotels Encouragement Act concessions, as well as hopefully small projects under $10 million.
Okay, great. Great. So at this time, we have a few minutes. I would like to open the floor to questions. If you have a question, please utilize the 2 mics that we have. Please, not all at one time. Good. Just identify yourself and direct your question.
Good afternoon. My name is Beecham Brannon. My question is to Camille. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's obvious that you guys are busy working and trying to get the system working. I wish I could ask all the questions that I was given from my colleagues of all the complaints we have, but you know, I see, listening to what you said, that based on our issues, I see it as a communication issue, because I come from a past where we could at least go to the Registrar General and speak to someone there who can answer your questions. Likewise, you mentioned your telephone numbers. You know, there was, in the past, you would see email addresses that people would somehow respond to. Even your communication in relation to cars, some of it, I mean, for whatever reason, we didn't receive. So I would like to hear from you about what are you doing to sort of increase communication to members who might not receive some of your communication. I mean, when we have client issues, it's good to have somebody say, okay, my certificate of dissolution that I've been waiting on for 6 months or 12 months is somewhere in the queue. I mean, who's the person do we accelerate this to? Who do we speak to? I think that's the frustration that we find ourselves in our office, because clients are asking and we can say, okay, well, we don't know, it's just a situation with the registrar.
Right, so that's a companies-related question, and I do have a supervisor of companies. So if you are calling the registry, then you would ask for the supervisor of companies. I think I'm not going to give her name just to save her right now. But if that doesn't work, then your next step would be escalated to myself. And so, like I said, we are now reachable by phone. And obviously, you can come into the registry and present your questions. But part of the issue you're having is because with the rollout of cars, and I think I failed to mention that we're only dealing with a certain aspect of the corporate services we offer on cars right now. So for those services that we don't offer on cars, like what you just talked about, dissolutions, nonprofits, all the other entities that we offer, foundations and the like, those are not yet on cars, but it's the same people who have to process those applications as the ones who have to process the applications on cars. So as the AG would have alluded to, we are trying to recruit more staff so that we have more people to deal with the volume of work that we have to do. But if you have an issue in that particular area, then the supervisor of companies would be your first line of defense, and then you would have to come to me so that I can escalate whatever it is that's not being dealt with. But that length of time, months, that's too long. We want to get that time down.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully I answered your question.
Are there any other questions that you may have that are out there? I know Camille has said she has made herself available if you had a QSIP question that specific to you, but I'm certain both she and Phylicia will be available should you have questions on there. Are there any more questions? I see. Yes, I see another. Please identify yourself and direct your question.
Hi, I'm Tanya. The question is for the Registrar General. Respectfully, what you're suggesting won't be sustainable. As a part of the digitization, it would be suggested for you to have a help desk IT functionality so that your query, your concern can be raised and ticketed so that you can more intelligently respond to exactly what the query is, be it you can categorize them in terms of the timing or whatnot, and of course, certainly what the matter relates to. So I think there's an opportunity, if you can, between now and January 31st, seek to implement some type of online IT-related means to assist you in managing those types of concerns, because that's going to be unsustainable.
Yeah. All right, that's a good point, Tanya.
So we do have a help desk for the Corporate Administrative Registry Services, but we offer more in the registry than just cars. And so in order for us to have a help desk to deal with everybody, that requires, like I said, additional resources. And that is part of my roadmap. So we are intending to have a help desk to deal with all of the departments that we have in the Registrar General's department. But of course, that takes time and resources. But we're working on it. But thank you for your suggestion.
Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions? Good. It's clear as mud, so it means everybody should be happy right now. Okay, great. Just want to do a little housekeeping. Thank you, ladies, so much. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. I just want to do a little house cleaning to make certain that we're on cue and give you direction for where we go next. Same order. Okay. So please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know Jason would like to get a photo, ladies, with you.
Oh.
That's that.
Oh, yeah, hold it.